As I was learning more about my acting, I was also learning more about my writing. So my acting and my writing has been running parallel.
So which one has informed the other more? Is it the acting that has informed the writing, or is it the writing that has informed how you approach acting?
I treat them as two different things. Totally. I don't relate either. Like this is a totally different. When I'm writing, I'm Patrick, the writer. When I'm acting, I'm Patrick, the actor. I don't write to act or act to write. Okay? Because when I'm writing, even when I'm writing for the character of Charlie, a mother-in-law, I divorce the person from the character and the writer. So actually, it's like a triage. There's the actor, the writer, and me.
The person.
Yes. So I am the join. I'm the union that brings this two together, but I don't do it for me. I do it for the character. Okay? Because I divorce myself from the character. And that is the only way I'm able to criticize the character, see what they need to do to grow. And that has happened over time. You know. I know that's a very subjective matter because some people think, okay, you guys have been doing the same thing over and over and over. I ask myself, and I even ask people, isn't your family the same over the years? What difference has your family made apart from the years that you have lived together?
Well,
You see,
and I think anyone,
and like every other family, we have had children in the family, we have had old people in the family, we have had parents coming and going in the family, like any other family. So when you tell us, you guys are doing it's the same thing you also do in your homes.
yeah, and I think it's one would relate with that if you watch those old programs, zile ilikuwa na ka soundtrack kanalia hivi and mnaangaliwa vibaya mnaenda kulala.
Yes.
Kina The Bold, The Beautiful,
Yes.
Neighbors. So looking back, who are the people that you would say, you know, they gave you a rope, they helped you see the way in terms of acting, writing, or where you are right now as, you know, Parto, the one we know as the performer? Who are these people that you'd say inspired you into it, and are you yourself working towards inspiring other people? Do you have some people you're doing some apprenticeship for?
You know why I'm laughing? Someone actually, I wrote something yesterday on Facebook and said, nowadays you find someone, a musician or an author, who was a musician who has just done maybe 2 songs or you know, those one-hit wonders. And then when you ask them now, okay, so what next for you? Like, you know, now at this point, I want to encourage young upcoming musicians. You have not even done anything. You're still upcoming. You only did 2 songs. You know, I am a student of life. I'll never say I have done enough to be able to give. Okay? I'm still learning. If anything, I've not even finished my studies. You know? So I am still at that point where I don't think I have had enough to say I'm now able to show you the way. But I encourage people to beat their own paths. Okay? I encourage people to beat their own paths, to be able to. It is the best way to actually learn. When you walk a path and you see your mistakes, you see your growth, you see progress, you define your vision. You tell yourself, I want to be at that point in the next 10 years. You know. But when it's handed over to you, even the value of it is
not existent.
Again, I always tell people, art is the one area that you cannot corrupt very easily. Because if you're not talented, you're not. You are not. It will clearly show. If art was like any other kind of field, we just have someone take all his children and line them up and give them all the jobs. But here, your talent will sell.
Speaks for you.
Speaks for you, yes.
So there's just one part of the question that you have not addressed. Are there people that
Yes,
if
I
you
was
look
coming
back-
to that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So as I started by saying, sometimes it's good to beat your own path. However, there are people you look up to. As you grow up, you say, I want to do that. And there are people you meet along the way who are doing the same thing because you're pulled towards the same kind of interest. When I started doing acting, I didn't know how far I will ever go with it because I was always discouraged. Enda shule, soma, pata kazi mzuri. There was nowhere along the line that I was told, enda shule, soma, fanya drama. Drama, acting, performance, writing was never in the equation at all. You see, so basically, the people that I met and told me you're doing well, I used that as the fuel to burn my desire and energy to get to the next level. From college, my college drama teacher, people like Charity Muraguri, who gave us the opportunity to do these things. Munene Wamumbi, who was my first trainer. Then I later also worked under him, trained with him, and even up to some point, even competed against him. But still, even as I was competing against him, he would still tell me, do this and do this and do this and do this. Fair competition. I consider him one of the biggest influence in my even writing. People don't know that I also write stage productions, stage plays. And the 2 or 3 plays that I've written were heavily influenced by Munene's style of writing, where you have maybe one person on stage who never leaves until the end of the show. It's a very interesting, intriguing style of performance. Now after college, I came out. The people I met at Uzima Foundation, where I was, the directors were superb people. One of the people I admire most is the founder of that foundation, Professor Miriam Mwere. The sister, who was also the director of the foundation, Malesi Kinaro, very, very motherly, very, supportive. And then now when I got into TV, my producer, director, Catherine Momoyo, who held our hands up to date, Naomi Kamau, who showed me the ropes of writing for TV, I bet many other people that I also, interacted with here and there, including those who even discouraged me. Those people would look at you and they're like, what exactly are you doing? Is that even a career? How far do you think you'll go with that thing? And sometimes I would tell myself, I'll not quit until I prove a point to you. And I did, to some of them. Even those who discouraged me and they were like, how far do you think you can go with this thing? I remember even one person was like making fun and say, okay, so now you want to act. What is acting basically? Is it that thing that the likes of Akina Ojuang, God rest his soul, do? So now you and Ojuang will be workmates? No, those are your colleagues. What kind of discussion can you have with them? And I was like, I wish you'd understand exactly what you're saying. But for me, the only thing I showed them is that I actually know what I am doing. This is not guesswork. It is pure talent. It has direction. It has a beginning, it has a foundation, it has growth in it. You know, and most of them see the point, others don't. Okay? Through this, I've been able to basically grow myself. You know, I can stand up and talk and speak my mind without intimidation. You know, and I have earned myself a place at the table where people are discussing art. Yes, I can have a voice. You know, one thing, I do not consider myself just an actor. I want to use my platform to inform the society. Remember, I have a background in teaching. So, I mean, once a teacher, always a teacher. Despite the fact that I don't like it that much, I don't practice it. I want to consider myself a social commentator. And lately, I've started doing a series on Facebook called The Drunk series, where I'm talking about basically social issues, political issues. I've had people come into my inbox and start telling me, you know, you're going to kill your career when you start attacking politicians. Actually, someone wrote on my page that, you know, politicians are a special breed of people that you are not supposed to touch. I was like, wow.
Speaking of which, there's a time, I think around the 2017 election,
Yeah.
there was a vibe that you wanted to vie. I don't know
Yes.
how that went. You know, I had already dusted my voter's card, ready to vote for you in Embakasi.
Yes,
I don't know
yes,
how,
yes.
How did that go?
Actually, at some point I was like, give this thing a shot. But then, I'm a realist. I looked around and my resources were not going to allow me to do something like that at that time. I'm not ruling it out. But at that time, it created a buzz because newspapers picked it, blogs picked it, you know. I got calls from radio stations and TV stations who wanted to interview me then. And I was at that point where I was not doing it for me, but I also looked at my family and I realized what it was going to do to them. It was going to expose them in a very bad way. And we were not ready as a family then. Personally, at personal level, as an individual, I was ready. But my people were not ready for me to do it. So for their sake, I held back that ambition. Like I said, I'm not ruling it out. I might one day say, okay, this is it, guys. Just the same way I said, I'm done with teaching, I'm going into performing arts. You know, let me tell you something about me. I am a late bloomer. And what has always happened is that I start something and then go back and learn about it later. I started teaching in 2001, but went to college in 2004. So I taught first and then went to college later. I acted for many years first and then went to college. Yeah. You see, I've started talking about, social issues, the things that are affecting us, right? Because I want to use my voice as a voice of reason. You see, my idea is not to use that to, as a platform for politics, really. But if politics comes, I will not say no. I will be ready.
Okay. I think we will if there's a declaration for Patrick Oketch 2022. You first had it here in Sinema Corner. You first had it here. So remember where to find it first. Anyway, I think you've really taken us through your story, and I think even our viewers will get to understand who Patrick Oketch is. You know, you've really given it to us without holding back. So maybe just a parting shot. Maybe your observation on our industry, your observation on the TV film industry. Where are we going? Are we on the right path? You know, even for a successful actor like yourself, you've done big films. You're on TV. You've written for TV for all these years. Do you think our industry is translating into wealth? Are we translating all that into wealth? Are we bringing in more energy into for instance, like those ones who the students who are learning these, do they have a future in that industry, and what do we need to do to make that industry flourish and turn into an economic engine?
Currently, the media industry in Kenya is in turmoil. You see what is happening around. People are getting fired. The people you least expect are losing their jobs. That tells you something. The industry is molting. You see the way the snake sheds off its skin, to introduce new life. The industry is molting. We need to find new ways of doing things, and to find new ways is not just technology alone, but also attitude change in the way people approach issues now. Today, if I want to know anything, it is a click away. If I want to listen to radio, it is on my phone. If I want to know what is happening in America, it is online, live. So that attitude change needs to be instilled in the way we even produce our content today. We are moving away from, appointment viewing, basically, where I have to wait for Sunday, 7:30 p.m. to watch Mother-in-Law. That needs to change, and it needs to change now. Where if I want to watch Mother-in-Law, I should be able to go somewhere, click, and watch Mother-in-Law when I want. And not past episodes or repeats or classics, as they call them.
Future episodes.
Yes, even future episodes. That is where things are moving to. And that is where we should also start moving to. In short, the idea of going to school and getting employed, which has always been, because our universities are just churning out workers, are not entrepreneurs, it needs to stop. We need to be able to do our own things without having to wait for certain people or the Sirikali's idea. And for sure, the industry is making baby steps, but okay, I appreciate the little that is being done. For example, the Kenya Film Commission in the last few days has been giving people money to do films. Those people who applied for them and went through the process of getting these grants, and that is a step in the right direction. We are very good filmmakers. We are very good actors. We are very good writers. We are very good technical people. What we do not have is the market. A place like Nigeria is beating us because of one thing: market. I mean, their movies are trash, but they have the market. Again, their stories, they tell their stories. The reason why some programs like Mother-in-Law are still on air is because it is relatable. This is a typical Kenyan family where we have this boy who has gone to school, he is successful, this one has not. But they cannot throw him out. But the troubles he causes to the whole family. Everyone feels his effect. That is in all our families. We still tell our contemporary stories. We have been very superficial. I'll give you a good example. When Makutano Junction started, it was in the village. It was so relatable, despite the fact that they were speaking English then. It was so relatable. It was so real. And then suddenly, girls in the village started wearing, what do you call them? Spaghetti, whatever.
Spaghetti tops.
Yes. And those, they call them pencils or whatever. Yes. Suddenly, that village setup is being erased. Suddenly, there's a supermarket in the village. Of course, we have big shops in the village, but they're not as glamorous as what they had started showing us. That is the reality. I mean, here we are, but we don't have a supermarket right outside our door. You know, even the barber shops there, they maybe have one machine that is using, car battery, It is not necessarily poverty, but it shows that this technology is not as advanced. A girl in the village in a grass-thatched house who has laptops. And it's not justified that it was a government issue or a donation. They have this nice thing, totally superficial. At one time I was criticized in the newspapers for saying that we are not able to fund our stories the way we want because they're out of reach of most of our producers. As a writer, when I'm writing, I also write within the realities of my even financial capabilities. No one in Kenya will come and tell you, Gabriel, here is 10 million, go do a film as an investment. We don't have those ones in Kenya. Kenyans, we have traditional investors. Nunua ploti, jenga rento. Ama nunua matatu weka kwa barabara. Ama jenga shule, academy watu wakuje. Ama fungua hardware. Yeah, as they say it, weka kazi. Yeah, umekea mama kazi, that kind of a thing. Nobody will buy a camera and make it an investment. And those who have the money do not think this can actually be an investment. That is why for the longest time, those who invested in media, like SK Macharia, are now industry leaders. They see what others do not. But now when so many other people came up, you can actually see that the competition is healthy. You see. Now, another thing, we really don't have, strictly speaking, in Kenya, a film industry. It is still just a small sector. An industry is when at least 3 other professions entirely depend on that thing that you're doing, so that the interdependence generates revenue for all of you. For example, do we have lawyers who are dedicated to actors, entertainment lawyers or IP lawyers, or people who are dedicated to this? Like, for example, athletics. We have doctors who are sports doctors. We have managers who are sports managers. So that becomes an industry. But in Kenya, ask any actor the last time they even read a contract after doing all these many shows. Very many of them don't know anything to do with contracts. And if they do, the only thing they look at is, what is my take home? That's where so I'm getting 30,000. For how many episodes? Just this one? Okay. Nobody knows about royalties or care about
perpetuity.
Yeah, perpetuity, We need to start looking at our art the same way the person who built a 10-story building look at his building. Generational wealth. You see, the sad thing is, if tomorrow they say this is the end of mother-in-law, whatever we have done over the 13 years belongs to an individual. They can sell it wherever, whenever they want, to whomever, without us gaining anything out of it. Now, those are the things that need to change for us to move to the next level of things. We are no longer talking about bad sound and bad pictures and those basic rudimentary things that or bad shots. We are now talking about what is the next phase of things. for everyone.
The economy now.
The economy, yes. Sustainability. How long will KFC give this money? How long? Maybe.
And to how many people?
And to how many people? You see, at some point, it will be like, you have given you enough, you need to start generating your own income. You know, and that is where we need to go to. I would encourage young, upcoming filmmakers to continue searching for knowledge. And not just knowledge, not the technical know-how only, but also the business side of doing this. It's so exciting seeing yourself on TV and all that, then you're blinded by the fame and the recognition and the respect you get, and then you forget that tomorrow you need to eat when you're no longer on TV. Unfortunately in Kenya, if tomorrow I'm not on TV for a month, I'm forgotten. But my bank should not forget me. The person who holds the IP on the platform that I performed on should not forget me. They should always remember this person, I owe them. So those mechanisms should be put in place to ensure that all of us are happy, even 30 years from today. So that when I'm in my sunset days, there's something still coming in for me because of what I did over the years. So that is, I mean, musicians have had it. We need to have it for filmmakers. Actors, producers, writers, all of us need to get into that system where we are appreciated by our work over time. Click that subscription button. See you.